up, everybody? It's Coach Ross back again with another episode in the Back to the Basics series. This is episode 19. And in this episode, we are going to cover the all-famous mesh concept in the air raid offense. This is the concept or the play that pretty much made the air raid very, very famous with Hal Mummy and Mike Leach. So we're going to get into it now. So stay tuned. All right, so when discussing the mesh play, it is a more involved type of concept here. It's obviously a drop back pass. It's not quick game. It's a little bit harder to teach, a little bit more going on. So it's definitely a longer developing play. So these are the rules that I use. Again, this play has been changed around and manipulated so many different ways. There is no right or wrong way to teach it, but this is just the way that I teach it. There are multiple ways you can teach it, in multiple ways that other coaches have taught it, but this is just the way that I teach it in a way that works for me. So we're talking about the 2x2 set formation here first. So basically any 2x2 set. So we got concept side. The outside receiver runs a post route, splitting a 2 high safety or flashing in front of a single high safety. Depth at about 10 yards to break on that post. So again, we want to try and split those 2 safeties if there are 2 high safeties. Aiming point right in the middle of them, and then obviously flashing in front of that single high safety's face. The slot receiver to the concept side is going to be running the mesh over route. So depth at about 5 to 6 yards, aiming at other mesh receiver, trying to rub off defenders. I had put in parentheses there, close up to slap hand. So this is something that you have to work on because it's trying to rub defenders off. So you need those meshers to be running basically shoulder to shoulder. So in practice, have them work on slapping hands so that they get that close to each other. With the mesh route itself, I teach it just like I do with the drag routes. It's a full speed run as fast as you can to the other side of the formation, trying to get to the other side of the formation, because that's typically when that route does break open. Backside, so outside receiver, again, running a post route at 7 to 10 yards, or you could also have them run a 5-yard speed out. It's up to you. It's your preference. The slot receiver on the backside is the mesh under route. So depth at 5 or less yards. So they're going to be going underneath the other mesher, getting clearance the opposite side of the formation where the route typically breaks open. So yeah, this player, the mesh under, will be the third player in the progression, a third route in the progression. And the running back is running a wheel or rail route to the concept side, basically running a full speed swing, but taking it to the sideline and up, taking over the space vacated by the outside receiver. So this is a full speed, get to the sideline as fast as you can, and then up the sideline as fast as you can. Typically, a quarterback will hit this very, very quick, or letting it break open a little bit later and hitting that running back down the sideline. So in a 3x1s, trip side, outside wide receiver is running a post, again, splitting a 2 high safety or flashing in front of the single high safety. Again, depth at 10 yards to break on that post. The slot receiver, so the middle receiver in the trips formation, is running now the wheel route to the outside, letting the wide outside receiver clear, then getting vertical up the sideline. The most inside receiver is now the mesh over route. So again, depth at 5 to 6 yards, aiming at other mesh receivers, trying to rub off defenders. The single wide receiver is now the mesh under. So depth at 5 or less yards, getting clearance to opposite side of the formation where the route typically breaks open. And then the running back, following the set rules that I put in place. So running back is going to always swing away from the trips. He's still going to run a wheel route, but he's going to run it obviously away from the trip. So he's not just running a typical swing. He's still running a wheel route. Again, vacating the space where that outside receiver is now running his mesh, and hopefully that corner goes with him. Now, if you see that, typically what I like to do is tag the quarterback to throw that wheel route to the opposite side, especially if you see that corner break on the mesh under and go with that receiver with the mesh under. And so that grass that's open on that backside is a lot of space available. So sometimes we will tag that wheel route to that running back if we see it. So these are the basic rules here. Again, this play takes a lot of time to develop, so it deserves a lot of practice time. So typically, if you are going to run mesh, you are going to try and find a mesh period in your practice plans almost daily where you are running mesh, because it, again, It takes a lot of time to develop, and it takes a lot of practice to get right. And quarterback needs to understand progression. So progression in a 2x2 set would be post, wheel, mesh under. So he looks post, looks wheel to the running back, and then he looks mesh under with that receiver crossing late. In a 3x1 set, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to look post, wheel, and then you have the mesh under. Okay, so it's the same progression for each side. But also what we do with the 3x1 too is if we see that running back on that wheel route to the opposite side, if he's by himself, we will come back to that play and we will tag the quarterback to basically almost just throw that wheel automatically. So those are just the basic rules that I follow. It doesn't sound complicated, but again, this play does take a lot of time to develop. Excuse me. We also have rules set in place with the mesh receivers that if they see an open window, they need to obviously recognize whether their defender that's head up or inside of them is in man coverage. So once they recognize man coverage, they obviously have to keep running that route all the way to the sideline. But if they see zone, and once they get across the formation, so this is the rule, if they get across the formation, their first open window that they see, they're going to settle up in that open window if they see zone and they recognize zone. So those are the rules that we put in place for mesh. And now I'm just going to show you what it looks like in a diagram. All right, so here we are looking at a diagram for 2x2 set for mesh. Again, we have concept side would be the left side here, and we have our post route, we have our running back on the wheel, and then we have our meshers right here, our mesh under and our mesh over. Again, they are crossing as quickly as they can. Now, again, if they see zone, which means that these linebackers are going to sit in their specific zone where they have on their specific responsibility for their part of the field, then once the meshers get across the formation, they have the ability to set up in these open windows if they want. But if they see man where these defenders are running with them, then they are taking that route all the way to the sideline. And again, we are looking for post, wheel, and then mesh under. So we are looking for this space right here. See if we can't take advantage of that space. If this corner stays in a cover 3 type look here, where he stays in this part of the field, we are looking to hit that post right here in this little open window right here as well, over the top of this linebacker. But if this cornerback runs with this post, then we are looking to hit this wheel route, basically right in this open space right here. Typically, we don't really hit this wheel route deep. It's usually almost automatic. So what that quarterback's going to look at is he's going to look at that corner first. So his eye's going to go to the corner first, see what that corner does. If that corner runs with this post route, then we know that we can hit that wheel route. And so if he goes, like I said, we hit that wheel route. But if he stays here in this general portion of the field, then we are looking to hit that post route right there. Now that corner stays, this safety shoots over, so his eyes go here, then they go to safety, and then they come back down to the mesh under, looking to hit this player coming across the field like that. So that is the basic progression for a 2x2 set in our mesh concept. Here's a look out of our 3x1 set for mesh here. Again, we have our meshes right here. Single receiver now becomes the mesh under. We have our middle receiver here. He's going to be the wheel route. He needs to we have the rule here, even though this player is off the line of scrimmage, post route needs to clear first. So he's going to hesitate for a split second to let this receiver break up into his post route, and then he's going to break in behind up the sideline for the wheel route. Inside receiver is the mesh over, and then our running back is wheeling out away from the trips. That's the basic rule that we follow in our offense. And so again, same progression. We are looking to hit the post first. So we're looking to hit that post in this general window right here. So again, quarterback is looking to corner, then the safety, then back down to here. So it's basically just the triangle. And the triangle is basically what you see in a lot of the concepts in the air raid offense, whether it's stick, whether it's corner. It's basically that triangle progression here. So corner, safety, and then down to here. So again, like I said, we are trying to hit this portion right here first. So we watch what that corner does. If that corner just stays back into a deep cover 3 or even stay in a cover 2. We hit that post right behind him or in that window right there. If this safety shoots over again to take the wheel, we hit that post right there behind it. If he decides to stay with the post, and then he stays in the deep cover 3 here, so they have basically both routes there bracketed, then we come down to the mesh under right here, because typically what happens is this linebacker sees this mesh under, so he will vacate this way, and then we can hit the mesh under right behind him. Now, again, what we are also looking for too is to see how this corner right here reacts. So if this corner, who's responsible for this receiver, decides to shoot inside to try and follow, or even come back into a deeper cover 3 back here, and we see this open space here where no one goes to the run back, because typically we think, or we see that this linebacker right here, depending on the alignment of the running back, would be more likely responsible for that running back, then we can hit this open space here as well. So we will tag this coming back the other way. So again, the concept is the same, whether it's 2x2 or 3x1. And basically we try and keep the progression the same as much as possible. Again, reading corner, safety, back down to linebacker. So it's basically that triangle that we follow here. So again, progression, post, wheel, mesh under, and it would be the same for a 2x2 set. Here we are looking at a 3x1 set here. Again, I'm going to show you a quick scenario what we're looking for here to hit the post route. We're looking for this open window here. You're going to see defenders fall back into zones, and it's going to present this window, quick window right here in this open field right here to where we can hit that post route. That's what we're looking. That's our first progression right there. And you can see right there is that window we want to hit. Quarterback lets it right there in that window, and it's a good completion. We're going to show how the wheel could possibly break open. This corner is going to break with the post. Safety is still going to drop into a deep zone, basically almost like a cover 2 here. And the wheel is taking advantage of this open space right here. Again, mesh under does not pop open soon enough. So we're just going to look at the scenario for the wheel here and show you what it looks like, what we're looking for. So again, what quarterback is looking for is that corner breaking on that post. So he knows that that corner breaks in that post, that wheel is going to pop open basically in the space where that receiver vacated from. And that's where we're looking to hit it right there. Ball's already in the air. The safety is in a position, but he's not in a position to make a play on the ball right there. And then from there, it's basically a foot race to the end zone. So again, we'll just watch it back one more time here, where we're looking to hit this wheel route right there. So in this last scenario here, we are going to show if both first 2 regressions are covered here. Again, corner to safety, so they're going to look corner to safety. He's going to look post to wheel. And if these are taken away, the mesh under coming underneath is available in this space here. So you can see, I go back here. Corner runs with the post. Safety covers that deep half, sees the wheel coming, so they got it covered. All of a sudden now this mesh happens right here. They get close enough to break open. Quarterback sees him breaking late into this space right here available, and he hits it in stride with this player. Room to move to make a play. Now, one thing I do want to show, because I want to just cover 2 scenarios in here. This is also what we're looking at too. If this corner runs with the mesh, then we see this space vacated right here that we come back to, and we tag this wheel route right here. And we're trying to take this space in a quick hitting play here. So we might come back and tag this. If we see this, so we come back to it. This is not something we would call right off the bat when we see this. Okay, we want to see how that corner reacts to that mesh, or that defender, see what his responsibility typically would be, whether he's going across the field or if he's staying here. Now, if he stays here, obviously we would not tag this wheel right here. So we want to see and kind of watch, see what that corner does. But if we see him kind of run with that mesher and leave that space open. When we come back to it, we will just tag this automatically and run the wheel route here. But this is the last scenario again, showing the mesh right there. I'm not going to show it out of 2x2. It's basically the same thing, same progression, same reads with post, wheel, and then mesh under. With the the only difference is obviously the wheel would be with the running back as opposed to the slot receiver, but it still kind of hits the same way. Now the only difference with the wheel route is typically we would not hit the wheel route, as far down the field in a 2x2 set. It would be more in the 5 to 10 yard range as opposed to the 15, almost 20 yard range with the slot receiver. But again, the progression still is the same. So this is the mesh concept that the way I teach it. Again, there is no right way or wrong way. So I'm not saying that my way is the end all be all of mesh by any means, no way. But this is just one way that I teach it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next will be the last video in this series coming up here soon. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow, obviously. And if you like this video, give it a like. All the other videos for this series alone are linked down in the description. So make sure you go and check those out. And I look forward to seeing you in the last video of this series.